who can be your referral, who can be your point of contact. I remember at Alphabet, there's a couple of UCLA MBAs like on my team or on the team near me, and I was able to really kind of get whatever I needed for a certain project, get their ear, figure out how to build things more because we had that UCLA MBA connection.
Mm-hmm. And like the older I've got, and like the more I've slowly matured.
Man, you're very mature, man.
I've realized like it's really like who you know is like a major player in like future success, because like people and like good people will make you much more successful and open doors you can't possibly do by yourself. I think like anything of value or anything that's like hard and has a great payoff requires the help of other people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I've continually like learned and, I've doubled down on as of recently.
Yeah, no, I agree with you too. You can't build anything great without other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is all a team effort. And you guys see this a lot at UCLA with all your projects, every class. If you ever get an MBA or if you go to business school, everything is all group projects because they know everything in the real world is a group project, right?
Yeah, it
is. So that's kind of interesting too. And then it's all case studies too, right? Because a lot of the case studies are what actually happened in actual businesses. What can you learn from it? How can we re-implement it and make it better?
Yeah,
so that is pretty good there. Matt, so let's talk about like the opportunities the MBA has presented to you.
Sure.
How I know Matt actually during his time at UCLA, he got an offer at Deloitte, correct?
Yeah.
So can we talk about that? What was that interview process like? How did everything go there?
So after my stint at BCG, Deloitte actually reached out to me, I think via LinkedIn or recruiter did or something, and offered me a manager role with their customer strategy practice.
Yeah, we were in class. Remember when you interviewed, you're like, "Hey, bro, I just got this interview." You remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you. Let's go."
Yeah. But yeah, like they reached out. It was much shorter than like previous rounds. I think a lot of companies, in my experience, have been cutting down the amount of rounds they do because it's so exhausting. And then if you have like competitive candidates for like jobs, you're gonna, you want to get them in quicker than later.
Yeah.
And you're just pushing those out because you have to schedule these rounds to get the people available and find a time for them to meet. So it was like only like 4 or 5 rounds.
That's really good. And it's like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they got me on board pretty quickly. I went to San Francisco for like a week for orientation.
Okay.
And then like got on my project the very next week.
Pretty cool. Talk about those 4 or 5 rounds. Was the first round just a recruiter screen and then hiring manager and then panel?
Yeah, the first was just like the recruiter screen. Then from there, I think I met with a manager, and then the rounds after that was like 2 MDs.
2 MDs, 2 managing directors.
There was no project or anything for Deloitte.
Okay. Yeah. Was it all behavioral questions? Kind of like, well, can you tell me at a time you did this? Can you tell me at a time you did this? Talk about your previous projects.
I think maybe the one who was a manager or senior manager was behavioral, but the ones with like the partners and the MDs, that was all experience based. Like what projects you've been on, like what roles did you have, like what challenges and projects did you have to like deal with?
Mm-hmm. I always kind of found it fascinating when they bring out that senior leadership, like those MDs, the VPs, right?